Hello students, in the present session I'll cover different RAID levels. So in the table format we can observe that we are having different RAID levels like RAID 1, RAID 0, RAID 3, RAID 4, RAID 5, RAID 6 and nested RAID. So first we'll take RAID 0. What is the meaning of RAID 0? RAID 0 is nothing but stripped array with no fault tolerance. So in the case of RAID 0, it does not provide any protection for the data. So RAID 1 is nothing but disk mirroring. RAID 3 is nothing but parallel access array with dedicated parity disk. RAID 4 is nothing but stripped array with independent disk and a dedicated parity disk. RAID 5 is nothing but stripped array with independent disk and distributed parity. RAID 6 is nothing but stripped array with independent disk and dual distributed parity. So the last one is nested, that means the combination of RAID 0 as well as RAID 1. The combination of RAID 0 as well as RAID 1. So first we'll take RAID 0. In the case of RAID 0, the data is stripped across the HDD in a RAID set. It utilizes the full storage capacity by distributing strips of data over multiple HDDs in a RAID set. The stripping task will be done by considering a controller called as RAID controller. So the data will be stripped across multiple HDDs within a RAID set. To read the data, all the strips are put back together by the controller. So while writing the data, the controller will strip the data across the multiple HDDs and suppose the entire data blocks need to be read out by the user. So that instant all the strips are put back together by the controller. So the multiple pieces will be combined together in order to while performing the read operation. So here we can observe that in the case of RAID 0, so the data from the host like block A, block B, block C, block D as well as block E. So now we can observe that there is one controller and that controller is called as RAID controller. So what exactly the RAID controller does here? So during write operation, the RAID controller receives the data from the host and it will strip the data across multiple HDDs. The single block A is stripped into 5 blocks like A1, A2, A3, A4 as well as A5. Similarly, B is stripped as B1, B2 and so on till B5. And those strips are stored across multiple HDDs. And while reading the informations, these blocks or strips are combined together and the RAID controller can directly read the informations from the strips. So when the number of drives in the array increases, the performance improves because more data can be read or written simultaneously. RAID 0 is used in applications that need high I/O throughput. So we can use RAID 0 where we want high throughput. However, if these applications requires high availability, RAID 0 does not provide data protection and availability in the event of drive failure. So there is no there is no security for the data is provided with respect to RAID 0. And the availability in the event of drive failure. So I cannot recover the data. During the occurrence of any failure or disaster. So I am not providing, or the data whatever located within the different or multiple HDDs are not secure. So next we'll take RAID 1. So in the case of RAID 1, so we'll use the security concept by considering mirroring. So RAID 1 is nothing but mirroring. Here every write is written to both the disks. So I'll maintain one original disk. As well as I'll maintain, suppose if this is the original disk, so I'll maintain one more disk, and this disk is called as mirrored disk. So this is called as mirrored disk. Whatever the data we are copying in or storing within the original disk, same need to be updated within the mirrored disk also. So during the occurrence of any failure, suppose the original disk is failed, so I can recover the data from the mirrored disk. But the major drawback with the with respect to RAID 1 is, so the host can perform read operations with respect to the original disk as well as with respect to the mirror disk, but while performing write operation. So while performing write operation, RAID controller need to write it twice. So it need to write it on the original disk as well as it need to perform the write operations on the mirror disk. So we have to pay the write penalty in the case of RAID 1. So RAID 1 is suitable for applications that requires high availability. So RAID 1 is suitable for applications that requires high availability of the data. So the RAID controller uses the mirror drive for data recovery and continuous operations. So RAID controller can use the mirror disk or duplicate disk for data recovery during the occurrence of any disaster, as well as so it can perform any operations or report generations etc. on the mirror disk. So in the event of disk failure, the impact on the data recovery is the least among all RAID implementations. So during the occurrence of disk failure, the impact on the data recovery, how to recover the data, but how I can recover the data. So here I'll maintain duplicate copy of same disk so that the original disk can be or data can be recovered by considering the mirrored disk. So this is the diagram of RAID 1. So here we can observe that we are having, so this is the original disk. So it consisting of the data blocks like A, B, C, D, E. The same data blocks are mirrored here, mirror disk. So similarly F, G, H, I and J. So same data or informations are mirrored here. So but while reading the informations, so can use either original disk or mirror disk, but while writing the informations we have to write it on the both the disk. So that causes a write penalty in the case of RAID 1. So next we'll take combination of RAID 0 and 1. So that is called as combination of RAID 0 and 1. So that is called as nested RAID. Most data centers requires data redundancy and performance from their RAID arrays. So how I can achieve the data redundancy as well as better performance in the case of RAID arrays? So I can combine the benefits of RAID 0 as well as RAID 1 in order to achieve the redundancy benefits of RAID 1 as well as the performance benefits of RAID 0. So in the case of RAID 0, as I mentioned, we are using stripping concepts, and in the case of RAID 1, I'll use mirroring concept, so that provides better security for the data. So these types of RAID requires an even number of disks. So here I have to maintain the one condition, that means so I have to maintain even number of disks within the RAID set. RAID 1 plus 0 is also known as RAID 10 or else RAID 1 bar 0. Similarly, RAID 0 plus 1 is also known as RAID 01 or RAID 0 bar 1. RAID 10 performs well for workload that use small random write intensive IO operations. So this is the diagram for nested RAID. So here we can observe that this is the first diagram is RAID 1 plus 0. So there we are performing stripping and later we are performing mirroring, so that I can consider the benefits of stripping as well as mirroring in the case of RAID 1 plus 0. Similarly, in the case of RAID 0, 1, we will perform mirroring first and later we can perform stripping. So you can consider advantages of mirroring as well as stripping with respect to RAID 0 plus 1. So next we will take RAID 3. RAID 3 strips data for high performance and uses parity for improved fault tolerance. So in the case of RAID 3, I will consider one more parameter called as parity. So this parity can be computed by considering some mathematical equations. So, or mathematical operations I can say. Parity information is stored on a dedicated drive so that data can be reconstructed if a drive fails. So here we can observe that we are having around 4 disks and I have maintained one separate parity disk. So parity of individual disks are computed. So for example, parity of first disk is AP and second disk is BP, third disk is CP and last disk is DP. So the parity of individual disks are computed by the RAID controller and later on those parity will be stored on the separate disk. So this is called as dedicated parity disk. This is called as dedicated parity disk. This is called as dedicated parity disk. So the dedicated parity disk can be used in order to reconstruct or recover the data during the occurrence of disk failure. Suppose disk A is failed, so at that instant I am already having the parity value within the dedicated parity disk. So take AP, back calculate the actual data. So that means, so the AP was constructed or calculated by considering A1, B1, C1, D1 and E1 data of disk A. So suppose disk A itself is failed, so I can reconstruct the data from the dedicated parity disk by considering the parity value of the disk as AP. So similarly, I can suppose the parity disk itself is failed. The parity disk itself is failed. Once again, I can calculate the parity value from the different disk. So next we will take RAID 4. So data is stripped across all disks except the parity disk in the array. So the RAID 4 as well as 3, RAID 3 as well as 4, it's one and the same. The behavior, the character, the structure, everything is same, but only the difference in the case of RAID 4 is, so in the case of RAID 4, the data disk can be independently accessed so that the specific data elements can be read or written on single disk without read or write on the entire strip. So it is not mandatory that the data need to be completely written into an entire strip. Instead of that, the specific data elements can be read or written on a single disk. So that is the additional advantage of RAID 4 compared with RAID 3. So RAID 4 provides good read throughput and reasonable write throughput. So since we can access the informations independently, RAID 4 provides good read throughput as well as reasonable write throughput. The diagram shows RAID 5 configuration, and we can observe that data from the host are A, B, C, D and E. So now the RAID controller will calculate the parity for disk A as AP, for disk B as BP, for disk C as CP and so on. So now, instead of storing these parity value within the same disk or dedicated disk, so we can make use of the concept called as distributed parity. So we can distribute the parity among other disks. So the parity of A is stored in this disk. Similarly, the parity of B is stored in the fourth disk. Parity of disk C is stored here, as well as DP and EP. So that the actual, suppose disk A is failed to provide the service, so I can recover the data by considering the parity AP. Suppose if this disk is failed, I can reconstruct the data parity from disk A, as well as the data of the fifth disk can be reconstructed by considering the parity DP. So either the data can be reconstructed from the parity, or its parity can be calculated from the data. So this is how RAID 5 configuration works. So in the case of RAID 5, parity is distributed across all disks. The distribution of parity in RAID 5 overcomes the write bottleneck. So the diagram shows the configuration of RAID 5 implementation. In the case of RAID 5 is preferred for messaging, data mining, medium performance, media surviving, and relational database management systems implementations in which database administrators optimize the data access. So these are the different applications where we can implement RAID 5 configuration. So next is RAID 6. So in the case of RAID 6, which distributes the parity across all the disks. So that is called as distributed parity. It is nothing but distributed parity. The write penalty in RAID 6 is more than that of RAID 5. Therefore, RAID 5 perform better than RAID 6. The rebuild operation in RAID 6 may take longer than that in RAID 5 due to the presence of two parity sets. So here I can observe that in the case of RAID 6, I will maintain two parity values. I'll maintain two parity values, that is why it is called as dual distributed parity. Dual distributed parity. So for example, if I am having disk A, I'll compute one parity AP. The same I'll copy to one more parity, that is AQ. Similarly for disk B, I'll compute BP and BQ and CP and CQ and so on.